Welcome back, boys and ghouls, to the Theater of Blood Horror Show. I am Tony.
I'm Matt.
And we just returned minutes ago.
Just saw it.
From the new pre-opening night showing of the new horror film,
Right.
film, It Comes at Night. We're going to do a little review for you here, spoiler-free.
Right.
Because it hasn't even opened yet.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't open for another 8.5 hours, 9 hours.
The big premiere.
You can listen. It's spoiler-free, and I'll post that. It Comes at Night is the second film. Damn it, I always forget his name. But from the director of Krishna. A very, very interesting... Did you see that?
Krishna?
Yeah.
I have not seen Krishna.
A very, very, very interesting... pseudo-esque horror film take on alcoholism, blah, blah, blah.
Trey Edward Schultz.
Thank you. I know it's Schultz, I remember. Trey Edward Schultz. I believe he's 27, 28.
Okay, so this is his
second film. Sophomore effort, as they say. Yeah, his first film was wonderful. Very moody, very mellow, very, very atmospheric. Much like, it's Krishna, by the way. I say Krishna because
Hare Krishna.
Because I am a Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. It was very. You haven't seen it yet. You need to see it. I think it's on Netflix, maybe. But it's very atmospheric. It's very.
I'll look for it. What was it called again?
Krishna.
No, that's the name of the movie.
That's the name of the movie. Came out last year. Very atmospheric, very understated.
So he's gotten back to work then pretty quickly.
Yeah.
As it came out last year.
Much like
It Comes at Night.
It Comes at Night.
Yeah.
This is a story. Oh man, we gotta. I hate having it. It's easier when you're writing. You just don't write the spoiler. When you're speaking,
it's
you
like,
have to think about your next sentence.
Story about a family.
There's a virus.
You could kind of say
is there?
Post-apocalyptic type world. You don't get to see much of it. It's
there's some kind
very
of
subtle.
There's something outside. Something in the air.
Yeah.
And people have to wear gas masks.
Right.
Yeah.
You get the overall sense that it is viral in some way, and it kind of seems like it's airborne because they wear gloves, they wear masks, anytime they're dealing with anybody from the outside world.
And I won't say what it is, but it's all extremely well established in the opening 5 minutes.
Right. Actually, most of what you saw in the trailers, for any of you who watched the trailers, was done in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. The trailer's like the first 5-10 minutes of the film.
Right. There's a few things that happen later in the film that sprinkle in, but all in all, most of what you saw in the trailer is shown in the first 10 minutes, and then you get good new material. And I'll start off by saying that it was a thumbs up for me. I thought this was a successful film.
Did you?
It built great tension without, anybody who's listened to us before knows we're not big fans of cheap scares, jump scares.
No.
It's not to say that a jump scare can't be well played.
Yeah, there's a place for them. And here's our reference. John Carpenter has done it many times. John Carpenter mentioned every show. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, he's like, you got to throw him in there. Right, he makes every show. But very well paced. Cinematography was fantastic. Soundtrack was fantastic. Performances were fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Through.
Can I just tell you, while you hit that, Joel Edgerton, who is a household face, I think, by now, but not a household name.
He's starting to get
there.
He's
a wonderful Australian actor who takes many chances over here. And over there, frankly. He still does. He's been in so many things. For those of you who don't know him by name, he was Tom Hardy's brother in Warrior, even though Joel Edgerton was the star of that film, basically.
Right.
But now he's Tom Hardy's brother in Warrior. He's in Warrior. He's in The Great Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Joel Edgerton.
There has to be some link because I guess he's a producer on this because it was Animal Kingdom Films. Did you notice that in the beginning?
Yeah, I did.
And I think
I wonder if that's
I just saw on IMDb that it said
he and his brother make films.
Okay.
His brother's director.
Yeah, I think in some way Joel Edgerton was a
writes.
producer on this, and
he wrote The Gift, which was really good.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm a big, and I have been for a while, fan of Joel Edgerton. He was Uncle Owen in the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
You see him from afar, he says one word, and that's it.
And also, very recently, he was in Midnight Special.
Oh, that's right.
Which he gave another wonderful performance.
Midnight Special.
Yeah, Midnight Special was fantastic.
Wonderful film.
But anyway, I'm happy that we went and saw a film that you and I mutually agree has finally hit the mark we were looking for.
We were hit and miss on... We agree-ish on our last one, Alien Covenant is what that's called. I always wanted to say Resurrection. But anyway. Yeah, no, we are in full agreement. I give this 2 way big thumbs up. It met and exceeded my expectations. It is a horror film.
It is.
But it is so much more and a little less, and I don't mean that in a negative.
Right. There are things that could have happened if they tried to push this into being more of a horror film that would have detracted from the film as a whole.
Sure. The
way it plays is the way it should play. And that's as vague as I'll make it, as much information as I'll give you.
Yeah.
But it builds proper tension. There are legitimate creepy moments that any horror fan will identify with as horror. And
I'm going to say the creepy moments start right at the beginning because and we talk about this over and over, and we will until we're dead, the most successful horror films are the ones with atmosphere, who properly set up the atmosphere and keep the atmosphere throughout until it's over.
Right.
Bigger examples would be Exorcist, Halloween, Night, and Dawn of the Dead. And
that have that pacing and that tone and and also the style, the feel to it.
You have to be wrapped in a blanket of something's going to happen, and you have to not be sure what's going to happen.
I agree.
And this one does that.
And
so many horror movies, something's going to happen, and I know what's going to happen. It's going to come around that corner, knock over that box, and that person's going to scream. Yeah. They telegraph everything. This one does not. You don't know. And the camera...
scene to scene, you don't know where the journey's taking you. I'll agree to that 100%.
Yeah, and the camera work is fantastic.
It's a lot of wide shots of people with lights, a lot of tight shots when there's the group together. And everything with the camera was well placed. The placement of the camera was always fantastic. And
the shadows, a
lot of
it's all natural light.
Yeah, a lot of lamp light.
Yeah.
So you're seeing
because there's no electricity.
Yeah, so you see the central character, and there's true darkness around. I mean, how they faded out the way the light carried to make the room dark was very good for the atmosphere and pace of the film.
I agree. And something I want to touch on. And if I'm pretentious, folks, you can tell me. And Matt, you can tell me too. Matt knows I'm pretentious. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Just
I can talk about Animal House and Ingmar Bergman's Persona in the same way, if you get my drift. Yeah. But I hope I'm correct. There's a couple of underlying themes that the director is nipping at here. I think I don't want to give too much away, so I'll just say something to do with adolescence and the safety, I want to say maybe false safety of
maybe the world we live in now, the overparentage,
but yeah, closer to the world that there's a teenager in this film, so that's not a surprise. But the false safety of parental guidance, if you will. There's Joel Edgerton is the father.
Yeah.
His wife, played by Carmen Aho, I think. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She was Billy Crudup's wife in Alien Covenant.
Yep. Last movie reviewed.
They're married. They have a teenage son. And whatever this is happening out there, whatever the virus is or whatever sickness is floating in the air, they're in their house. There's no electricity.
Boarded off all the windows.
They boarded up and
one entrance in and out.
And Joel Edgerton, as the father, believes that. No, not yet. Sorry, folks. My computer wants to do a tune-up, and I can't do it because we're recording. But Joel Edgerton believes so strongly that he has everything down to a regimen, and I'm not going to give away anything.
Right. He even has a line where he says, routine is important.
Yeah. And it's everything. And he says,
it's good to stay busy.
You go outside, you go together. Never go outside alone.
Even during the daytime, we want to do things in
exactly.
groups of two. Even going to the bathroom, which is an outhouse away from the home.
So I won't tell him what it is, but there's a room with a red door.
Yeah,
that's a certain thing, and we can't do it by ourselves, and we have to be together to do this certain thing.
Right. And the red door, it was a good central theme through the film. It much like the clock in Insidious, that old grandfather clock that they used to segue scenes a lot. Mm-hmm. This red door comes into play quite often in the film. And
it does.
And it's properly red in a dark hallway. So
and if we've learned anything from Nicholas Roeg's classic Don't Look Now and many, 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 many other films, if something is red and a very strong red, it's bad.
Yep.
There are bad
away.
Things around. Yeah.
It's meant to represent blood.
If the Great American Beauty.
Yeah.
There's the red is everywhere.
Yeah.
The door, the roses, the this, the that. That's one thing I love about that.
Even M. Night Shyamalan in his best film, The Sixth Sense, used red often.
The Happening?
yeah, those two.
No, I'm kidding.
Devil. No, he used red to show impending danger. Yeah. Whenever there was red in a scene, the door handle from that little closet that he gets locked into where the slave was locked in.
Yeah.
The red balloon going up that hallway right before all that happens.
And then it floated in the summer sky.
Yeah.
Little Nina reference, everybody. 99 Love Balloons.
No, he let the balloon go, and the other school kids popped it, but then a whole bunch of balloons came to him.
I remember. But no, the false sense of, like I said, it's very regimented. Joel Edgerton has everything's tight, and there are many shots of the teenager.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's kind of
he's in a way
the focus of the camera. Yeah. He doesn't get more airtime than anybody else. He probably does, but it's almost through his perspective. Not quite. You're still the fourth wall, but it's almost from his perspective.
I would almost say he is a walking symbol of a couple different themes, and I won't elaborate on that too much.
Right. A little bit by the one you talked about with the adolescents.
I mean, there's a false sense of hope because everything is so regimented. Everything. Joel Edgerton is basically, he doesn't say this, but he's basically saying, I have everything down to a science here. I've got us, family. Everything, we're your parents. We got you. Don't worry about anything. No.
Yeah.
That starts to unravel very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think this movie speaks to that. And I think in its own way, it kind of bounces off. And I can't reference this. There's this very specific scene. It's kind of speaking on. I don't want to even say it because then I can't back it up. But something about adolescence, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know the scene I'm speaking of?
I know what you're talking about.
And then it's a real moment of adolescence that every young male can relate to. And then it is also brought to an abrupt... And again, don't keep listening, folks. I'm not going to say it. Matt knows what I'm talking about. And then it's brought to an abrupt halt.
Yeah.
By, wait, the evil's coming through. This false sense of,
right,
complacency. No, wait, the evil's coming through, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are. I'll speak on this again later because I can't back anything up. But there are underlying.
Sounds like Comey did today, and he's like, right. When not here in the public forum.
I told him, I can't. I told him to give the memo.
Yep.
We just dated this podcast. But no, I think those underlying themes and a couple of more. Thank you. It's very late, folks. Those underlying themes and a couple more, I think, really. The script for this film is. This guy didn't sit down and with his first film, did not sit down to write a horror film.
Yeah, there are many levels to it. It has proper emotion right from the beginning. And again, the performances by everybody in the film support these emotions and really carry it off and make it realistic. And there are legitimate drama. There is other aspects to it. There are legitimate drama.
Again, it's late, folks.
There is legitimate drama. And there are scenes that, again, any real horror fan will know as authentic horror.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Pacing. This movie is wonderfully paced. I don't know.
It's a slow pace.
It's a slow pace, but again, much like watching a Terrence Malick film, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, not a distraction.
It's wire. Here's what it is, and I hate catchphrases, but here comes one. It is wire tight. The beginning of that film, he's like, it's a little, all right. About 20 minutes in, he tightens it, and he says, now hold this, don't let it go, pull it tighter, and then at the end, he keeps it going. It's just, I was tensed up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fear that it's a palpable fear. It comes at us because we don't know what's out there.
Right.
We're never spoon-fed. If this is a Hollywood horror film, at the beginning would have had some crawl,
Yeah.
At the end of World War III, the virus spread through the blah blah blah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then Jeffrey Dean Morgan would overact and hit somebody with a bat and bend over way backwards. Anyway. You know what? Just very quickly, folks, I digress. Kind of, because there are comparisons to be made thematically to The Walking Dead and the way it's taking.
The post-apocalyptic scenario thing. This isn't giving away too much, but knowing that it is in that kind of setting, that salvage and scavenging would be a part of a regular life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
other themes that kind of do blend with The Walking Dead as well that we probably shouldn't go more into.
No. And here's one thing I want to know. Should we talk about something that happens? I mean,
yeah.
Can we say that? Is
that
no, I
think that's known. If you read the synopsis, that is a synopsis.
Okay.
Synopsis.
It's late, folks.
that is the whatever.
Synopsis, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's late.
So anyway, the family in turn decides to help a second family that's been on the lam for a little while.
On the lam.
And
the cops are after us.
Well, they're hiding from something.
I know you're right.
And they're allowed into the home, into their sanctuary, and now they have taken the risk of letting something outside in. And it deals with a lot of mistrust, all of the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of mistrust of one another. Played a little more subtly than, say, The Thing, where you see giant monsters burst out of people's heads. But
there's a dog.
There is a dog. And they allow this family in, and that kind of opens the door for the crux of the film.
Yeah. And I liked all that, and I liked and again, this is what I was speaking about earlier. Not just complacency in knowing that, in the knowledge that my parents have this covered. I'm gonna be okay. Not only through the teenager, Joel Edgerton, the father of the family.
Yeah.
He eventually starts to let his guard down,
right,
and become a little complacent. And without saying anything, the theme I just spoke about continues with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a
very. Yeah, it's hard. You're like,
I just can't
hold
say
on,
anything,
hold
folks.
on.
I just can't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta hold back.
But I think it's a movie. It's a film about dangers. It's a film about dangers. It's a film about we can't. Our hands are tied here, folks.
Well, there are things. The other themes are family and the things that we do to protect our family. How far will we go in those limits? And
right.
And that's kind of on both sides with with Joel Edgerton and the people that own and have resided in the house and built it up to be the fortress that it is.
Right.
And then the new family that comes in. Both are families.
Yeah.
And so family is a strong theme throughout the film.
And then they become a blended family of sorts.
Yeah, they do. There are warm scenes of them all interacting together. And
I really enjoyed. There's a scene where they're all sitting around and a little montage of everybody getting into the groove of things.
Right.
I like that. That was really well done. And watching again, as you can tell, I'm the president of the Joel Edgerton fan club, but watching his face and watching it change, and then no spoiler, watching it go back to the face you saw at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then an even different face after that.
Yeah.
And don't worry, folks, that wasn't a spoil. He doesn't turn into a monster. That's not what I'm talking about.
Or does he?
Or does he? Yeah. Let's just keep it scary. I don't think traditional horror fans... let me rephrase that. I don't think today's horror fans are going to enjoy this.
I wonder. I can see your point because they do want to be spoon-fed a lot of things.
Yeah.
And this film is very subtle. It doesn't spoon-feed you anything.
Well, it's subtle for a while.
Yeah, it's subtle for a while. But there's a lot of things that, people want all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't going to give you all the answers. I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm a big believer that when you give away too much information in a horror film, you take away anything that makes it creepy.
I agree.
And by not spoon-feeding and not oversaturating you in everything, it'll make this film, I think, enjoyable on a second or third watch. I think I could watch this again and enjoy it and still ponder things on it.
I agree. And I tell you, Joel Edgerton. Did I mention Joel Edgerton?
Yeah, and John Carpenter.
Hey, we did it.
Every show.
Twice. Now, if we could get the two of them together, that'd be fantastic. Joel Edgerton is kind of...
He could be a new Snake.
He could. Well, no, he couldn't. There's no new Snake. Joel Edgerton is kind of the... everything's very tribal. Familial, but tribal.
Familial?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how you say it.
Hmm?
Family-like.
Family-like.
Yeah. Everything's very familiar, but it's tribal. He's the father. He's the king. He's the head of the tribe,
Right. This is my house. I've allowed you in.
This is my kingdom, house, whatever.
I'm the guy with the keys.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. He keeps the keys. He keeps the weapons.
Right.
He keeps everything.
Yep.
He is in control. And guess what? And
he is Negan.
He is not. And he is so in control that, like every good or bad film, this control will get shattered. You can lead your tribe, you can protect your tribe, you can lead your family, you can protect your family. That will end. That will end. And And that's not a spoiler, me saying that.
Right.
You're not going into a comedy here.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be some conflict. It doesn't all go smoothly.
No, and that will end. And like I said, there's deeper themes at afoot here, at play. But that said, it's also an extremely creepy and effective horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not your traditional horror.
Not in any way, shape, or
quasi
form.
Maybe, I don't know. It is fantastic. It's a wonderful film.
I agree, and
we saw it with a pretty packed house. The audience did not agree with Matt and I.
Some didn't, and some did. I heard a few of the younger people right in front of us go, "What?
What the fuck was that? Oh man!"
And then I heard a lady directly behind us. That was a really great film.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
I
think it will divide.
It will divide. It's not going to make a dime. I hate to say. I hope I'm wrong. It won't.
I don't think it cost them much to do it.
Yeah, that's true. It'll probably.
It should turn a profit, but
yeah. It'll find a. Oh, when it hits video, this thing's gonna It Follows in the Babadook. It's gonna go through the roof.
Yeah, I think so. This will be a big Netflix hit, and
yeah.
The horror community, I believe, will embrace it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And the if we can call them our colleagues, other critics who get paid for it.
Right.
It's pretty unanimous across the board. All the major critics are.
They're all speaking positive.
And it's not just 3. It's like 3.5, 4, 3.5, 4.
Right.
A minus, A plus. People are loving it. And I like that. And on I have a 5-star scale, as we all know. I go 4.
That's strong.
I go 4. Here's what's wrong with it for me. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with this film.
No, I mean the acting, pace, cinematography, soundtrack,
the screenplay.
Themes.
The screenplay is sticking with me, and maybe someday, about 6 months from now, when we're talking about doing a show on a certain kind of horror, and this movie's brought up, and everybody's seen it, I can speak deeper on the deeper themes that I got out of the movie, because I can't give examples.
Right.
I just sound like a pretentious twat throwing this out right now.
I know, and you don't.
Yeah. Oh, I think they were talking about the adolescent blah blah blah. But no, I liked all that about the screenplay. I liked it. I liked the tension he built. The cinematography was wonderful.
Fantastic. I mean, one of the better parts of the film.
And what's his name? Joel Edgerton. He's pretty good. No, he's really good.
All performances.
Everybody was good. The kid, the teenager, the son.
The teenager,
wonderful.
And father of the other family was very.
Yeah, Jesse Bradford from Girls played the father of the other family,
and did a fantastic job. You believed him, and there are parts in the film that will make you question everybody's motives. And
right.
Who are they really? Are they good? Are they bad? Every single person through the film. And you'll kind of get answers on some things.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And here's the thing. When it's over, who's good, who's bad? You tell me.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jesse Bradford played, he was on Girls. But his wife is played by, Jesse Bradford's wife, is played by Riley Keough. She's daughter of Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh, really?
And she was in the massively overrated but very good American Honey from last year, and she was one of the girls that Charlize Theron rescued in Mad Max Fury Road.
Ah, she was one of the
and she was very
one of the
good
wives
in this too. Yeah, and she was very good in this too. She's a good actress. She was excellent in American Honey. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She was good.
And she was good in this.
She's very good in this. Yeah, it's a marvelous movie. It gave me more than I thought I was gonna get, and less than people want. But I like that. It's minimalist, but only in style.
Yeah.
Substance. There's a lot going. Like again, I'll talk about it again someday. There's a lot going on there. A lot of themes running through there. And It's an effective, claustrophobic, tightly wound horror thriller.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
And one thing,
Two thumbs up from me.
I was going to react very quickly to something you just said, but talking about the teenager again, the teenage son of Joel Edgerton and his wife. I said that he's almost a walking symbol for the themes running through the movie.
Right.
He's also, see if you agree with me on this, a MacGuffin at times.
Yeah. I can agree to that.
On 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
He's a MacGuffin.
Yep.
And I like that too.
Use him as a catalyst to drive the story.
Yeah. But, without...
Calvin Harris?
Calvin Harris, that's the son. Without getting into spoilers, I think that's all we can say. Or else we're just going to sit here praising it over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. Saying, it was paced well, good cinematography, acting was good.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'll compare it with a movie that I liked, I think, a lot better than you did from last year. Don't Breathe.
Okay. Yeah.
Now,
I liked Don't Breathe.
I liked it a lot.
I didn't love it, but I liked it.
I almost loved it. But here's the comparison. Both are tight settings, few people, tense,
Yeah.
and it starts and it doesn't stop. And I think, at least with Don't Breathe, he kept the tension and the atmosphere going all the way through it. But there's an element of, in Don't Breathe, there's an element of, I have to go bigger, I have to give them one more thing, I have to appease, I have to...
Yeah.
And it just kept going and going and going. Whereas, but that's the comparison, whereas this is that kind of film, tight, claustrophobic, but, and Don't Breathe is tribal to a point.
Yeah.
And
I kind of that feeling, I recently saw Green Room.
Yeah.
Very similar
and
in that.
same with Green Room.
Yeah.
It's on the Don't Breathe side.
Right. Also done by the same production company, A24.
Yeah, I tell you what, A24, between horror and indie dramas, they've just about cornered the market.
They're killing it right now.
Blumhouse is on the ropes.
Yeah. But A24 is just knocking it out of the park.
They really are.
They had the Oscar winner last year, or this past year, with Moonlight.
Then it did.
Yep. But
Moonlight.
La La Land.
Yeah.
Oops.
Sorry.
Did Steve Harvey host that?
Yeah, right. I don't know. I can't talk to him.
Yeah. A24. Just absolutely killing it. And I heavily enjoyed this film, and I suggest...
I really did, too.
Go out and see it in the theaters. It's worth the theater experience. It's worth your bucks. And it'll probably need you. If you're a horror fan...
It will.
Just because it is slower in pace, and there are a lot of people that just aren't going to see this,
Yeah.
So go out and see it. Help its numbers.
Yeah, definitely. Please do that.
Support this director so he goes out and makes more
Edward
good
Schultz,
films.
A true, in my opinion, based on 2. And mind you, Krisha isn't... I won't say it's not horror, but I won't say it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wonderful too. This I would give the edge. This is just... Rarely is a sophomore effort a second film. Rarely is it better and more complete than somebody's first film. But man, this, I tell you, this just does it. It's one of the best... I know the year's early and it's a weak year so far.
Yeah.
But it's one of the best movies of the year so far.
I would agree.
In my opinion.
And both you and I were fans of Alien Covenant. I enjoyed this more, I believe.
But it's flawed, and
yeah.
I gave it 3.5. Yeah.
Right. This you gave 4 to.
There was nothing wrong with this film. Nothing wrong with this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got watchability. Like, this is a film
does.
You can watch a few times.
I think so, too. And I think that the way it decides to wrap up, I'll say that, is wonderful. And I was holding my breath. Please don't ruin it. Please.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He just,
I was kind of wondering, is there going to be, some final scene that's like,
But you know what I'm speaking of.
Yeah.
The last moment.
Yeah.
I was thinking this would be a perfect, don't go past it.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Yep.
And that's wonderful. And yes.
And that's right when the teenage kids went, what the fuck?
Yep, they were angry.
Yep.
And, whatever. Because guess what? We were teenagers once, and I would have liked it then. Because we're film people.
Yeah.
So anyway, at the risk of repeating ourselves, we should wrap it up. Since this is spoiler free.
So go out and see it.
Go out and see it. It comes at night.
It comes
I'm going to ask you on the air.
at night.
No,
on your mom.
Yeah. No, it comes at night. I was going to ask you to explain the title, but don't. Don't.
No, then again, you can't. Spoilers.
You can't, but don't. You can guess. Like I asked you in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing, folks, and we'll leave you with this. Go see It Comes at Night. It's just know that you're not going to get a Conjuring or a
slasher
Paranormal Activity
film.
or a Blair Witch. You're not going to get that. You're going to get a very original take on kind of a well-done subject.
Yep.
With, I'll say again, some really interesting underlying themes.
100%.
They're not really so underlying. They're there if you're, paying attention.
You'll see them pretty plain.
You'll think, and you'll be scared.
Yeah.
And I tell you, my muscles were tense through almost the entire thing.
Yeah. And I'll say there is a plot device used for some of the scarier
I know what you mean.
Scenes in the movie.
And they work.
And during each one of those,
it works.
And you can kind of tell when it's going on. And immediately it's like, all right, I'm going to sit a little closer in my seat. I'm going to, I'm starting to feel the hairs a little bit. Like, this was good.
Like Philip Seymour Hoffman in Twister. It's coming! Yeah.
So,
That's a weird reference. Yeah.
So go check it out.
Go check it out. It Comes at Night. Trey Edward Schultz. Sophomore effort. Excellent film. 4 stars out of 5 for me.
Yep. 2 thumbs up from me.
I don't know your scale.
Yep.
Starting in 8 hours, folks.
Go see it.
First showing's in 8 hours. So go see it.
Formulate your own opinion.
Let us know what you think, even though it'll probably be a while before people start seeing it. But yeah, It Comes at Night. Wonderful film. I am over the moon about this movie.
I am too.
All right. 4 stars.
Yep. Stay scared, everybody, and we'll see you on the next cast.
Stay scared, and good night, folks.